New York Giants fans are in full crisis mode right now. Are we firing Dable? Are we firing Shane? Are we is John Mara selling the team, which is never going to happen? I'm not at the point, and I know it was so ugly yesterday, and it was so deflating and defeating yesterday that the Giants lost this game to Tampa the way that they lost it, being down 30-0 at home. I'm not surprised. Any Giants fan that thought Tommy DeVito was going to come in here and make a competitive game, when last season the only reason DeVito was competitive is because the defense forced 13 turnovers within a 3-game winning streak. That wasn't going to happen again. It just wasn't. You have a giant defense now, which Shane Bowen should obviously be a one and done. This guy's brutal. He's brutal. I'm perfectly fine with letting him go after this season and bringing in another defensive coordinator. But this Giant team, I didn't expect to be competitive yesterday. I don't know who did. There was plenty of Giants fans that thought this game would be close because Tommy DeVito's playing. No. What's wrong with people? What's wrong with people? Do you watch Tommy DeVito play football? Have you seen Tommy DeVito play football? He's not good. Daniel Jones was the best quarterback on this roster, and that's not saying much, and I'm not defending Jones because he needed to be benched and he needed to be released. But the Giants are truly tanking this season, which means Tommy DeVito is a better option than Drew Lock. Drew Lock's going to run into a couple throws and win you a couple games. DeVito's not, especially without the defense helping him out. Some Giants fans got sucked into that story last year with the Italian, the chicken cutlets, and the all that crap that was going on that cost us a quarterback last season. So all the fans that were cheering for all that garbage last year, congratulations. You got what you wanted. You got that little stupid 3-game winning streak that brought you to 5-8, and you lost out on a franchise quarterback. Congratulations. How's that feel? How's that feel? And fans, there's certain fans that were still wanting that again this year. Oh, we got to beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Who gives a crap about beating the Cowboys on Thanksgiving? Nobody cares. They need to lose. They're not going to be competitive with DeVito at quarterback. Oh, we got to beat Philly the last week. Oh, we could lose every game, but we got to... No, shut up. What do you not understand with this? Winning a useless game against the Colts at home or the Saints at home or Tampa at home, that does nothing. It does nothing. People just don't understand it. Again, Jones needed to be... There's some checkpoints that people don't understand. Jones was an awful quarterback with the Giants. Awful quarterback. Can't make reads, can't evade the pocket, can't extend the plays, awful pocket presence, overthrows, underthrows, no throws. Awful quarterback. His processing is awful. He was cut. He was released. Problem solved. You're bringing in Tommy DeVito now, and people actually expected this to look better. It's not going to look better. Jump on the tank train, because that's where the Giants are. The Giants have hopped on the train, and they are headed to the number 1 pick in the draft. The quicker everybody realizes that, the easier it will be to cope with these 30-0 games, because you don't expect them to be competitive anymore. Now, whether that's coaching, whether that's the general manager, I know the owner's not going to be happy. The owner's going to be really pissed seeing this team be non-competitive and the stadium empty for the rest of the season. He's not going to like that. John Mara's always been an attendance guy. And you're seeing what other former Giant players are doing in other situations. That's not going to help Joe Shane's case to be retained as general manager at all. Now, if there's one, I'm not a fan of this at all. But if there's one scenario where the Giants get rid of the GM and keep the coach, which sometimes doesn't work out because the GM you're going to bring in has to want the coach, right? Anybody they bring in is going to have to accept Brian Daboll as head coach. Not a lot of, I mean, most people, there's only 32 jobs in the league. Someone's going to take it. But maybe you get a guy pass on a job because he's being given stuff he might not want moving into his tenure with a new team. They're at a crossroads. I mean, they're not even at a crossroads anymore. They're at a dead end. The Giants franchise went from a perennial Super Bowl winning team to a dumpster fire. A dumpster fire. The Giants in 30 years have won 4 Super Bowls and have been to 5 in the past 30 seasons. 35. I think 35. You know how hard that is to do? Even with the 10-year drought that this team's on right now, in the last 35 to 40 years, this team's been to 5 Super Bowls and has won 4 of them. 2 relatively recently, going back 12 years. That's not easy to do. Look around at all the other franchises in football. There's not 5 other franchises that could tell you those same statistics. The problem is, what have you done for me lately? And lately, the Giants have been one of the worst teams, if not the worst, next to the Jets in the NFL. I don't know how to get it turned around. I don't know how to get it turned around because I don't know what John Mara's mindset is right now. Excuse me. I don't know what John Mara's mindset is right now. But when I know for a fact when he sees these empty seats, and if there was like 3 games left in the year, okay, we'll move on. After the bye week and after the Jones benching and then cutting, there's 7 games remaining, and the first of those 7 you lost by 30. 23. Garbage time touchdown. You were down 30-0 at home to a Tampa team that was, although it's dangerous, 4-6 on a 4-game losing streak. They weren't running the shots. They weren't impressing anybody. Giants made them come in and look like a playoff team. But like I said in the past, this season, there's always a couple of these teams, maybe one. This season, as an opposing offense, the New York Giants have become the get-right team for everybody else in football. For so many years, I think it was the Browns were that team, and the former Redskins were that team. You know, these bad teams that you knew going into the season. The Lions were that team as of like 5 years ago. But you knew going into the season you could chalk up, if you're playing these teams, a win. That's the team that we get right against. We're making mistakes. We clean them up against the Giants. I never thought in my lifetime, from how it started, I would see this dysfunction with a franchise that has been a consistent winner or been competitive for a long period of time. To go from that to non-competitive is one of the most surprising turnarounds I think I've ever seen. Now, people make fun of Dallas. Excuse me. People make fun of Dallas for not even being to an NFC championship game since, 94, 95? But, Dallas fans might not want to hear it, but they've been one of the more consistent winning franchises over the last decade. Competitively, yes, they have. It's just a fact. They're not winning the big games at the end, which is all that matters. But they had built a foundation in Dallas that is carried over for so many years. Just because they're bad this year doesn't mean they've been bad the last decade. Giants, what do you do? I'm stuck. I'm stuck because I like Brian Daboll. I still love Brian Daboll, man. I love Brian Daboll as a play caller, as an offensive mind. Excuse me. So where the Giants go from here, we're going to find out. I don't see any firings coming during the season. If it gets ugly like this, then I don't know. It's 50-50 to me. Like if the Giants play the next couple games, they're playing on Thanksgiving. If that game goes ugly, a lot of things change overnight. Mara might feel a certain way today, and then the Giants get blown out on Thanksgiving. He might wake up on Friday and say, no, let me just rip this Band-Aid off because this is nuts. I can't do this. I don't know. We'll see where it goes from there. But guys, thank you for watching. Tank Train is on. Quicker to the 1 week closer to the draft, and hopefully the Giants have that top 2 pick that we have been asking for.